Now, let me brush through chapter 5. Understanding French verb forms. Yeah, I could give you time to just read through this right now. You know what I'm saying? So, I'll give you the chance to read through this before, explaining what's on the table. Let's give it 30 seconds. Read through this text. Browse through quickly before I talk about what's in the table to expatiate on everything. 15 seconds more or thereabouts. Yes, just read through. Understanding French verb forms, because you have to understand the verb forms. We have three kinds of verbs. We have the ER verbs, we have the IR verbs, and we have the we have the ER verbs, we have the IR verbs, we have the RE verbs. It means we have verbs that end in ER, verbs that end in IR, and verbs that end in RE. 5 seconds more before we attack what's there in the table. Okay, thank you very much. Like you can see in the table, you have pronoun, rules for conjugation, and in what, right? J, simply remove the last letter. Accompany. That's, yes, it's very simple. It's your accompany, right? I accompany. Look at it, accompany. There should be an R, but because of the fact that it's J, which means I, the R disappears, right? The same thing too, you add an S, replace the R with an S. There, yeah, whenever you use to, with verbs that end in ER, please. This is for only verbs that end in ER. Hello. Now we have IR verbs like we have down here. Yes, ER verbs. These are verbs that end in ER. So that, accompany, to accompany, danser, to dance, and so on, chanter, and so on and so forth, okay? Now, and please, this is all present tense, not past tense. Yes. Il accompany. So, the conjugative forms of verbs for J, il and L are usually the same when they are supposed to end in ER, okay, but have changed. So the il and L part, which fall here, because il here you can also use L. J'accompagne, okay, j'accompagne, the same pronunciation, the same spellings. So I, he, and she are pronounced the same way. Okay, the verbs that are associated with those pronouns are pronounced the same way. Nous. Replace ER with ONS, yes. Nous accompagnons. Like you can have here, right? Like you can see right here. Then, just like, in danser, like you have danser right now, this would now have been nous dansons. That would be DANSONS, not ONS. It's always there, dansons. But here we have accompagnons, okay? Vous replace it with a Z, yes. Vous accompagnez. Can you see that? Two, you add an S. Vous, you add a Z. Il, plural, or L, plural, replace it with NT. Accompagne. Please, the ENT would never be pronounced. The conjugated verb with ENT will have the ENT silence. Is that taken? Yes, always remember that. Now we have the IR verbs. IR verbs. Is that taken? Yes, the IR verbs, these verbs are words that end in IR, and also the French counterpart, infinitive English verbs, that require the use of the word to preceding the verb. Conjugation is also also depends on the pronoun attached to the verb. Take for instance the verb bâtir, to build, okay? Yes. Is that understood? So take a look at number 2, the IR verbs. These verbs are words that end in IR and are also, the French counterpart of infinitive. Of the infinitive. Is that understood? What do we mean here? Look at it. The rules for conjugation. Je replaced with S, bâti. Is that bâti? Can you see that? Yes. Then 2, the same thing, bâti. Now for the IR verbs, the conjugated forms are the same for je and 2. Can you see? Bâti, bâti, the same thing. Il, you replace it with a T or L, not just il or L, replace the T, je bâti. You replace it with SSONS when it comes to nous bâtissons. Nous bâtissons. Therefore, vous as usual, but you have EZ, but you double the S. You put double S there. Vous bâtissez. Then il, the plural ILS or ELLES, replaced with SSENT. Il L bâtisse. Is that taken? Yes, regular RE verbs. These verbs end in RE and are also of the infinitive form. Conjugation still depends on the pronoun attached to the verb. Take as an example the word défendre, to defend. Okay? Can you see the table there? Yes. Defend, the same thing. Je défends. You just remove the IR and put an S there for je. Then for 2, the same thing. So it's usually the same for the RE and IR verbs. The conjugation for 2 and je are the same. You can see, exactly the same. Then for il and L, the S always disappears. Is that taken? Nous is ONS, défendons, for RE verbs, which is similar to the ER verbs, okay? Then vous replace with RE with EZ, okay? Défendez. Yes, EZ. So it's very similar. The RE verbs are similar to the AR verbs. Now the problem you might have is the IR verbs, okay? So try and understand the IR verbs conjugation, right? The il, replace the RE with ENT. But the ENT will never be pronounced though. Il défend. Okay? Stem changing verbs, just like in the English verb category. French stem changing verbs also have 2 different stems that change in spelling or syllable stress depending on whether it is used with singular or plural pronouns. These are also called boot verbs because when the pronouns are listed 3 to a column, the similar verbs or each pronoun will often end up forming the shape of a boot. Take for example the word geler, which means to freeze. This is conjugated in the same way as regular verbs, but then the spelling of the stem word undergoes a tiny change, mostly by changing the first E with an A. Conjugating this word is the present tense will go as follows. Je gueule. Je gueule. Yes, je gueule. Nous gueulons. Yes, that's I freeze. We freeze. That nous gueulons. Tu gueules, you freeze. Vous gueulez, you freeze. Il gueule, he freezes. Il gueule, they freeze. If you draw an interconnected line to encircle the conjugation that have the letters A as the first vowel, the resultant shape would be, that of a boot or shoe. Okay. So just go through that text then before we move to the next part. Irregular verbs. Before I stop this very recording, let me treat irregular verbs. These verbs take the same form as regular verbs because they also end in ER, IR, and RE. However, unlike regular French verbs, irregular verbs do not have a regular pattern for conjugation. In some cases, the spelling of the word could completely change in order to match the pronoun with which it is used. An example of this is the word être. This word tops the list of the most widely used French verbs, and it is conjugated in every usage through the following ways: je suis, sometimes shortened to je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. Okay. Il est, he is. Nous sommes, we are. Vous êtes, you are. Ils sont, they are. Yeah. Okay. So let's stop this recording right now. Yes, chapter 5. French pronouns, formal and informal. Yes, as everyone is probably aware of, pronouns are used for replacing nouns in order to avoid redundancy or to simply make sentences shorter and more direct to the point. French pronouns function in the same way. However, unlike English pronouns, French pronouns usually take on different forms in order to fit into situations. Specifically, French pronouns are divided into two different categories. Category 1, personal pronouns. There are 5 primary types of personal pronouns used in the French language. These are je, tu, il, elle, okay? Yes, like we have in English, I, you, he, she, of course, he, she, and so on. Okay? But these are the first category of French pronouns. That's taken. Yes, in this case here, this two changes to te when it changes to an object instead of a subject, okay, and it comes before the verb. Je te donne, I give you, okay. Je te donne, I give you. Although this means you is two, but this is a subject. The you there is it's a you in the objective case, so I give you je te donne. It's not taken. Yeah. That's what they're saying right here. Let me illustrate that in the text here. Je te donne. Personal pronouns. Personal pronoun. Je te donne. Now, what I'm saying that te is the objective case of two, which both mean you, but the first one, which is two, means you, but it's a subject, while te it's an object. So if you say je te donne, I give you. Tell them. She likes you. Il te déteste. They hate you. Can you see that? Te, objective case. Je te donne, I give you. Elle t'aime, she likes you. Ils te détestent, the ENT are not pronounced, as I said before. Ils te détestent, they hate you. Okay? The same for elle. Okay, il refers to the masculine pronoun in the third person singular. So this is simple. But this is changed to le when the pronoun is the direct object. and then to lui when it is indirect object in a sentence. This pronoun is the rough equivalent of the English pronoun he or him. Direct object le, je le donne. But lui when it is indirect, like to him. Lui means to him. Okay? To him. Je lui donne. I give it to him. Je lui ai donné. I have given it to him. Okay? Give to. Lui ai donné. Je le déteste. I hate him. Is that understood? The same for L, okay? This is then changed to la. Yes, it's changed to la when the pronoun is the direct object, and lui if it is the indirect object in a sentence. This is the French equivalent to she or her. So it's the same thing, but for the female pronoun then, she, it is la, la, not le, when it is the direct object, okay? The word nous is used for first person plural, and the word vous is used for second person plural references. Like most of us already know. The pronoun vous is also used as a means of politely conversing with people whom the speaker does not bear a close relationship with. People who are just learning the French language often find it difficult to discern when the singular pronoun tu or the more polite plural pronoun vous is to be used. Tu is used when talking to people who are very familiar with you and vice versa, okay? But to command respect in a more formal setting, use vous to avoid being seen as disrespectful. Is that it? However, since even the native French speakers admit that there is no strict rule for when to use tu or vous, foreigners are often forgiven for the similarly impolite form of address. The following are some of the indications the French language learners can use in deciding whether to use tu or vous. When unsure of which pronoun to use, it is better to be cautious by sounding a little too polite instead of being too rude. Yes, that's why I personally like using vous more often than even tu, okay? So the rule is use vous. This is especially true in situations when the speaker is meeting somebody for the very first time. You know? Remember that vous is used to show deference for somebody who is in a position of authority, such as your boss and the other high-ranking officials in the company. Other authority figures include doctors, lawyers, policemen, teachers, and the like, right? But don't forget that when you are talking to many people at a time, vous is the only correct way to address them, okay? V-O-U-S. On the same note, always use vous with other adults unless they give you invitation to tutoyer, to use tu. Okay? These adults include neighbors, new acquaintances, and people who are at least 15 to 20 years older. Tu is most commonly used to refer to young people, especially to teenagers and people who are at least 20 years younger than the speaker. Using vous when talking to a teenager might invite you a few strange looks, so just use tu. Yeah. Always use vous when talking to people who are paid to provide a service or engage in various trades, such as waiters, vendors, and salespeople in malls and supermarkets, car drivers, and so on. Okay. Category 2: Impersonal pronoun. Demonstrative pronouns composed of the pronouns celui, singular masculine pronoun so, plural masculine, cell, singular feminine, and cell, plural feminine. These are the pronouns that roughly translate to the English pronouns this, that, these, those. Cell, so, cell, so, celui. Yeah, celui, masculine singular, right? So, plural masculine. Cell, singular feminine. Cell, plural feminine. Okay? These are the pronouns that are roughly translated to English pronouns this, that, these, and those. These pronouns cannot function as stand-alone words, so would have to be attached to either a suffix or a prepositional phrase. Interrogative pronouns. These are pronouns that ask questions. There are two primary interrogative pronouns: he, who or who, and k, what. These pronouns change in form depending on whether it is used as the subject or object in the sentence, as well as if it is followed by a preposition. Also, the phrase esque is added to the pronoun in order to indicate it as the subject or object in the sentence. This is illustrated below. Qu'est-ce que? Okay. Now, who is this, that, or who is it, that, or who? Okay. The person referred to as whom. Qu'est-ce que? Qu'est-ce qui? Who? Okay. Who is it? Who? Okay. Is not taken. Then you can see qu'est-ce que c'est? No. Qu'est-ce que? Sorry. Qu'est-ce que? Often shortened to mean qu'est-ce que. Indicates that the object is the thing that answers what. Laquelle, singular masculine. Laquelle, singular feminine. Laquelle, plural masculine. Laquelle, plural feminine. Yes. Now, the table below shows what has been illustrated here about laquelle. It's masculine, feminine, feminine. Okay. Now, laquelle means of which. This is the feminine form. Auquel, it is masculine. It means to which. Okay. To which feminine, masculine, auquel, feminine. Please, they made a mistake here. This is supposed to be for masculine, and auquel here is supposed to be feminine. Okay. Feminine, masculine. Laquelle, duquel, desquelle, okay. Yes, for those who are not used to it, the S actually is not pronounced. Duquel, okay? Duquel. Okay. Just browse through these now, quickly. Is that understood? Okay, let's move on. Don't le tien, the one of which I give him, right? Yes, that's the meaning of that. But okay. Okay, sorry. The one which is his own, which you. Yes, if the word tien is replaced with the pronoun vous, then it translates now to what? Which you, okay? Don't le tien. So it is which he owns, okay? Which you own. Okay, sorry, it's which you own, not which he owns, okay? Now, there are so many ways of using French pronouns in everyday conversation. The important thing is that you learn all the basics listed in this chapter in order to be able to construct valid sentences. Chapter 6. How adverbs are positioned in French sentences. Now look at the first point there. If the adverb does not modify a verb, it should be placed in front of the adjective, adverb, or noun phrase that it modifies. Vous êtes très à la mode. You are very fashionable. À la mode means fashionable. Okay. Terry, you are à la mode. Okay. If it is a manner adverb that modifies the verb, then it should always be placed after the verb. In most cases, the verb would already be conjugated to match the adverb. For example, elle parle étrangement. It speaks strangely. In English, it is possible to interchange the placement of the verb and the adverb, yet the speaker will still be able to convey the same meaning. Il parle étrangement. But this is a big no-no in the French language, and the speaker will only end up speaking unintelligible words. And just like the English adverb, French adverbs are also differentiated into the following. Adverbs of time, such as actuellement. This adverb is often mistaken by non-native French speakers to be the equivalent of the word actually, and its cognate actuel to be actual. This will actually mean at the present time or at present. An example of how it can be used in a correct French sentence. Je suis occupé à l'heure actuelle. I'm busy at present. So à l'heure actuelle means at the current time, okay? At present. À la fois means at once. No, it can also be taken literally to mean at the time. The phrase can also be used to mean two things at once, as characterized by the English word both. Ils sont à la fois drôles et beaux. They are both funny and handsome, right? Yes. And handsome. À la fois et beaux. They are both funny and handsome. Auparavant. Auparavant. This means beforehand, auparavant. So don't forget, beforehand is auparavant, okay? Priez avant d'aller dormir. Pray before you go to bed, go to sleep. Okay? Pray means prier. Prier. Avant aller dormir. Is that understood? So that's just what it is, okay? But I hope you jotted one or two things down. Now we have adverbs. Okay, before I go to adverbs of quantity, we have another example here. Enfin, at last, finally, okay? Ils sont enfin arrivés. They have finally arrived. Is that understood? Now, the second part, yeah. Yes. J'ai fait autant que lui pour accomplir la tâche. I did as much as he to accomplish the task. Plus, plus. Just browse through this text right now, okay? Now, this example says, Je veux plus de crème. I want more cream. Il n'y a pas plus de crème. There is no more cream. Did you see that? Il n'y a pas plus de crème. There is no more cream. Je veux plus de crème. I want more cream. Je veux, I want. Did I forget that? Yeah. Yeah, so much. Tant means so much or too much. For example, vous m'avez déjà donné tant d'amour. You've already given me so much love. Okay? Tant, so much or too much. Following the rules for the placement of adverbs and knowing some of the most basic and commonly used adverbs would really help in making one fluent in the French language. This is because adverbs also serve the unspoken purpose of intensifying or emphasizing the impact of the nouns or verbs that it modifies. This means that adverbs are great for making conversations livelier and give people a better chance of becoming more familiar. to each other is not understood.